Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take it from the time. Actually, Mr. Chair, I've divided my evidence into 5 areas, and the first one is with respect to the difference in the date and time stamp. We have here from one in Burak, Barangay Burak. The date was January 3, 8 p.m. January 3, 8 p.m. when in fact the elections was finished May 11, 8 a.m. There's another one in Barangay Hulita. That's a different municipality. The date and time stamp shows January 24 at 12:56 a.m. There's another one also from a different municipality, although we're speaking of only 166 clustered precincts, and there are already 3 of them in a small political jurisdiction like Biliran. It closed on May 10, 7:35 a.m., just before the start of the elections. We already have the results. These are the 3 barangays, Mr. Chair, situated in different municipalities in a small political jurisdiction, just 166 clustered precincts, and we have this material difference in time and date stamp. Now, if you said that it's not material, let me ask you this way. If you're the owner of the bank, and I have 50,000 pesos in your bank, then I went to your ATM and withdrew 10,000 pesos. The slip showed January 3. Then I go back to your bank. I'd like to withdraw my 50,000 pesos. Would you give it to me?
Case.
That's the first case, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask them on the issue of materiality.
Okay. Yeah, please answer.
If your ATM showed January 3 on the slip, and I go back to you, I'd get my 50,000 balance because January 3 yung nakalagay na date doon sa slip. Would you give me my 50,000?
Sir, you can't compare an ATM to an election because you don't withdraw money twice. You can withdraw money twice, but you can't vote
it's
twice.
almost the same
No,
machine.
sir.
Don't tell me that it's an entirely different machine. There are machines that counts. It's
Sir,
entirely no.
Again, in an ATM operation, a time factor is a dimension that is relevant because
The
you don't
issue
have the
I'm
same
talking about
amount
is
of
materiality.
money in every moment
No,
in
the
time.
issue I'm talking about is materiality. Whether the date and time is really material to your mind or not. Mr. Chair, the second thing I would like to point out before this committee is the discrepancy in the printing times of the ERs. We have one in Barangay Larasabal, Naval Biliran. We had 2 kinds of ERs. One was printed at 7:45 p.m. for both local and national positions. Then another ER was printed at around 11:31 p.m., 4 hours later, for the same local positions and national positions. What explains this difference for 2 sets of ERs printed 4 hours apart from the same barangay? In another barangay, the local positions in the ERs were printed 2 hours apart from the national positions. In Barangay Iusan, where closing of the voting took place the next day, they were 2 hours apart. The ERs for the local positions was late by 2 hours. In another barangay, it's the same, 3 hours. In another barangay, 4 hours. Then there's another 1 hour by 1 hour and 20 minutes, and 2.5 hours. The difference between the printing time for the election returns for local positions and national positions. I was made to believe that the counting is supposed to be simultaneous operation. And what makes the difference of hours in the printing of both national positions and local positions? We have noticed this in 7 barangays, Mr. Chair, in different municipalities in a small island like Biliran. And we have also noticed in one where the transmission was made prior to the printing of the ER because they were reflected in the results. The transmission failed, but there was ER printed. Then I would go to the contingency PICOs because we have also intercepted 2 PICOs that were unaccounted for. We have here the affidavits. I'm prepared to submit all this evidence before this committee. The day after the elections, all 166 PICOS machines were supposed to be delivered to the regional hub in Tacloban. But the people in my district did not believe the results of the elections. They went to the capital with a rampaging mob. They blocked the van containing the 166 PICOS. And the Comelec election officer, provincial election officer, was asked if all the PICOS were there. And he said yes, including the contingent PICOS. But when they came, because of negotiations, Mr. Chair, we were allowed to inventory all the PICOS in Tacloban City. 2 PICOS were missing. The next day, they sent another van to fetch the PICOS in a place where it's not supposed to be, in the municipality controlled by my opponent. It's not supposed to be there. They were intercepted again by the mob of people who were rampaging because they were angry because of these elections. And right now, they're still rallying in the provincial capital. Every 5 days, they will go out of the streets and rally because the results is unacceptable to them. And Mr. Chair, why would the provincial election officer withheld an information such as this when it is very material in the conduct of a clean and honest elections? We also noticed, Mr. Chair, that there are 6 barangays in my district, in different barangays, including island municipalities, where unofficial ER papers were used. The one that does not bear the Comelec logo, they didn't have, simply plain thermal paper. But I just can't understand why they have a plain thermal paper in a remote island, in a remote barangay where there is no telephone line.
Probably a school teacher.
Probably a school teacher, Mr. Chair. And I did not understand why they don't have, why they have that such thermal papers ready with them. We have noticed 6 barangays, Mr. Chair, in different municipalities of the province of Biliran, which had unofficial ER paper. And lastly, Mr. Chair, we had also noticed 6 barangays where our voting ended in one barangay 7:20 a.m. the next day, May 11. In another barangay at 6:20 a.m. the next day. In yet another barangay at 5 a.m. the next day. And the other one, 12 p.m. the next day, May 11. And there are 2 others at 8 a.m. the next day. The reason given was that the PICOS malfunctioned repeatedly. And these are things that I would like Smartmatic to answer. Aside from the other questions, I would like to ask them if they may answer. What kind of encryption code you used in the transmission of your results? The encryption protocol. Please take note of them if you wish to answer. The encryption protocol, whether this is proprietary or not. And is there a button in the PICOS machine that is meant to stop the printing of the ER so as to explain the significant gap in time in these 7, 8 barangays that I have mentioned? I mean, they're supposed to be simultaneous. And with respect to the contingency PICOS, the spare PICOS are designed to replace any PICOS within the assigned area, right? But they can also transmit results, right? If they are meant to replace any PICOS there within the jurisdiction in which they are assigned in a municipality, they can also transmit results, right? Good.
Are you going to let them answer?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if they're willing to answer.
Would you like to answer that, Smartmatic, please? Try to remember as many of the questions.
But Mr. Chair, I would like to ask them some other time about their standard development cycle. So go ahead.
Good.
So regarding the encryption protocol, it's AES 128-bit. It's actually NIST certified and approved for actually top secret information by the U.S. government.
I understand that the encryption is it has Japanese, Chinese, and Korean characters. I get this from Senator Madrigal.